Hello friends, welcome back to our channel NEET Biology Expert. I am Dr. Parveen, your biology professor. In this lecture series, we are going to start a new lesson, that is class 11 biology, the first unit, living world. Okay, so let us see what is living world. Look at our earth, how wonderful the earth is. Wide range of living organisms we could see in our earth. This is really amazing. We have so much varieties of plants, we have so much varieties of animals, so much varieties of fishes, birds living in this earth. We could see all these organisms in different habitats, not only in a particular place. We could see many types of plants and animals in almost every part of the earth. Like we could see them in Arctic and Antarctic, like cold places. We could see them, they are living in the desert environment. Many organisms are living under water, oceans, seas like this, right? Not only that, so many organisms are living inside our body and outside, which we're not able to see. They are called microorganisms. They are very unicellular and like for example, bacteria, viruses, fungi, algae surrounding us. All these organisms present on the earth, they constitute the ecosystem. See, there are about 8.7 million species of animals have been identified so far. We have named them, described them and classified them. But almost 86% of species on the land and 91% of the species living in the sea are yet to be classified, yet to be discovered and yet to be catalogued. So what do you mean by that? That means so many types of organisms are living in this beautiful earth. See, in this earth, we are surrounded by so many diverse species of organisms. So they constitute the ecosystem. What do you mean by ecosystem? Ecosystem is a community of living organisms like plants, animals, microorganisms, every form of life. Not only living organisms, ecosystem also constitute non-living environment like minerals, climate, soil, water, sunlight, mountains, everything surrounding us. Okay, and their interrelationship. That means the living thing and the non-living thing present in this earth together constitute the ecosystem. Okay, so here there are a variety of species that have been adapted successfully to live in this diverse ecosystem, and these living forms, they coexist with each other. So every organisms in this ecosystem, they help each other, they indirectly or directly help each other. They are important to maintain the life. Okay, that is called balanced ecosystem. So here we have to understand another terminology called biodiversity. What is biodiversity? The presence of a large number of species in a particular ecosystem is called biodiversity or biological diversity. So for example, we have an ecosystem called pond system. We have an ecosystem called desert system. We have an ecosystem called Arctic and Antarctic, like ice cold environment. Okay, different ecosystem. So the organisms living in this particular environment, they constitute the biodiversity. Okay, so species living in a particular environment is called biodiversity. Okay, who coined the term biodiversity? Walter Rosen in 1985, he coined the term biodiversity. And this man, this gentleman, E.O. Wilson, he defined the term biodiversity. So he is called father of biodiversity. E.O. Wilson, he is called father of biodiversity. In this particular situation, we have to know about a very famous scientist called Ernest Mayr. He is known as Darwin of the 20th century. Okay, Ernest Mayr is called Darwin of the 20th century because of his contribution. Almost 80 years, he has done tremendous work in the field of ornithology, taxonomy, zoogeography, evolution, systematics, philosophy of biology, history, many fields. Okay. So what is ornithology? Study of birds is called ornithology. See, his age is 100 years. He died at the age of 100 years. Okay. So almost 75 to 80 years in his career, he did tremendous work in major fields of biology. So he is called as Darwin of 20th century. And Ernest Mayr was awarded 3 prizes in biology, that is called Triple Crown of Biology. You should remember this. Triple Crown of Biology. He won 3 important awards in biology field. Balzan Prize in 1983, International Prize for Biology in 1994, and Crawford Prize in 1999. So this very famous scientist is Ernest Mayr. What is biodiversity? Let us see the meaning for this word biodiversity. Bio means life, diversity means variation, differences. Okay, we have so many organisms living on this earth. So the number and types of the organisms present on the earth are called biodiversity. Okay, they are all of different kinds. They are of different animals, different types of plants, fungi, microorganisms. Everything together constitute the biodiversity. Okay, so here each species and the organism work together in the ecosystem. It's like a web. How a spider web is there, it's like a continuous connection. Okay, it helps for the ecosystem, it helps to maintain the food chain in the ecosystem, like this. Okay, for the decomposition, like many uses. So this biodiversity is very much important to maintain and balance and support the life in a ecosystem. Okay, let us understand what is living. See, we have told that ecosystem consists of living thing and non-living things. Okay, so we have to clearly differentiate which are living and which are non-living, right? So for that we have certain category, certain criteria. If the organisms exhibit certain characteristics, we can tell them as a living thing. If the organisms do not exhibit such characteristics, we can classify them as non-living things. Okay, so let us see what is living, what are the characteristics of an organism to be told as a living thing. Okay, the first one is growth. They should grow, they should reproduce, they should have adaptability, should adjust to the environment, they should respond to stimuli. The organism should have metabolism, cellular structure, homeostasis. They should maintain homeostasis. They should respire, they should excrete, they should interact with each other, they should move, they should have movement, like this. So these are the characteristics of a living being. Okay, right. Let us first talk about some most important characters. Okay, the first one is growth. So what do you mean by growth? All living organisms grow. So what is growth? Increase in the mass and increase in the number of an individual. Both is called growth. That means these are the twin characteristics of growth. What do you mean by that? See, we human being, we are born as a small baby, we are growing. So our size is increasing. That is called increase in mass. Okay. And you imagine about a bacteria. Do bacteria increase in the size? No, they don't increase in size, right? So how bacteria grows then? One bacteria gets divided into two. It's their growth. There is no death for bacteria. Okay. So one bacteria gets divided into two. That is growth for bacteria. So 1 into 2, 2 into 4, 4 into 8, like exponentially the bacteria grows. There in case of microorganisms, unicellular organisms like bacteria, amoeba and all, increase in number of individuals is called growth. Okay, so that's why we are telling growth, increase in the mass and increase in the number of individuals. Both are twin characteristics of growth. But plants, you see, take plants. Plants grow by cell division. Here, the cell division occurs in the plants continuously throughout their lifespan. So the cell division, like for example, if you break a twig of a plant, that part grows, continuously grows, okay, throughout its lifespan. Okay, but it is not such in case of animals. If we break our legs, will it grow again? Our hands, will it grow again? No, not for animals, not for human beings, like that. But animals and human beings, we have the capability of getting replaced our lost tissues. That occurs by cell division. For example, if you fall down, you have a wound here. After some period of time, here the tissues get replaced, right? If not the complete organ, at least the tissue gets replayed. Okay, so this is also certain growth, that is called cell division occurs in certain tissues. Okay, so like that, for animals and human beings, the growth is seen up to only a certain age. After that age, the growth stops. But plants not like that. For the plant, till its lifetime, it grows continuously. Okay, so here you should understand, is increase in body mass is considered as growth? See, I told you, no, we are born as a baby and we are growing as an adult. Our size is increasing. Do you mean this is growth? If you say yes, please wait. There is another question. Do dead organisms grow? Anything which is dead, do they grow? No. Right. Okay. But if your answer is no, then please wait. There is a reason for this. See here. See here. Mountains, boulders, sand moons, all these are non-living things. They don't have life, but they grow. How? Because they have accretion. What do you mean by accretion? Non-living articles can increase in size by accumulation of materials on its surface. They have accumulation of materials. For example, look at this mountain. This mountain can grow. It grows. Accumulation of ice, accumulation of snow, accumulation of sand. Okay, so the mountain grows. Boulders, they grow. The sand moles in the desert, they grow. The size increases. So, now you again come to the answer. Is increase in body mass is considered as growth? No. Because these mountains, boulders, sand moles, these are all non-living things. Still, they increase in their body mass. So, growth is not just body mass. Okay. That's why we are telling growth is not a defining property of living organisms. We cannot define an organism as a living thing or a non-living thing just based on the growth, because these non-living things like mountain, sand, everything also grows. Okay, right. The second characteristics of organism is reproduction. What do you mean by reproduction? Reproduction means it's a biological process by which organisms produce their offsprings. They produce their young ones. Okay, so the parents produce their young ones same like the parents. That is called reproduction. It could be sexual or asexual. Sexual reproduction includes gamete formation. Okay, gametes. So male and female will be there. Gametes will be involved. Whereas asexual reproduction, like bacteria has binary fission, amoeba has binary fission. Some plants reproduce asexually. Okay, so reproduction could be sexual or asexual. Right. See, in unicellular organisms, the reproduction is synonymous with growth. So look at this. Here the bacteria is dividing, multiplying. So one bacteria is dividing into 2, 2 into 4, 4 into 8, like exponentially in a few hours. One bacteria grows into millions of bacteria. Okay. So what do you say? This is growth or reproduction? This is both. In case of unicellular organism, this is synchronous, both. Okay, so growth and reproduction is together in unicellular organisms. So, growth is equal to increase in number or increase in mass, not only size. Increase in number like bacteria is also called as growth. So, growth and reproduction, these two words are not clearly understandable, clear-cut, marginable character in unicellular organisms like bacteria, right? Also, some organisms do not reproduce. How? See, for example, some human beings, they are fertile. Fertile human beings, okay, because of some biological reasons, their genetic organs would not develop properly, or some chromosomal deformities will be there. They could not able to reproduce. Okay, sterile male and females are there. Infertile uh, humans. And worker bees, they don't reproduce. Mule is a hybrid animal between donkey and horse. Okay, mule could not able to reproduce. So this, like for example, mule, worker bees, and some human beings could not able to reproduce. Can we say that they are not living? No, we cannot say like that, right? So that's why growth and reproduction both are not a defining property of living organisms. Okay, so as how growth is not a defining property, similarly reproduction is not a defining property of living organisms. Understand? Right. The third character is cellular structure. Every living organisms are made up of cells. We know this. Whether it is a unicellular organisms like bacteria, virus, amoeba, yeast, like this, or it is a multicellular organisms like plant cell or animal cell. Every organisms are made up of cells. Without cell, there is no life. Okay. So that's why cellular structure is a defining property of living organism. Remember, cellular structure is a defining property of living organism. The fourth property, metabolism. What is metabolism? We know that every organism has cell, right? So inside the cell, we have so many chemicals like carbon, phosphorus, like calcium, like this many molecules are there. They are called biomolecules. Okay. So what happens? These biomolecules are constantly being made and changed into some other biomolecules. From one form, it is getting converted into another form. There is some reactions keep on going in our body without our knowledge. Those reactions are called as metabolic reactions or chemical reactions. These chemical reactions or metabolic reactions occurs in every individual cell, whether it is a bacterial cell, it is a yeast cell, it is an amoeba cell, plant cell, higher animals. Every organisms in its cellular level, these metabolic reactions occurs. Okay, so these reactions are called as metabolic reactions, that is anabolism plus catabolism. Metabolism is the sum total of biochemical reactions taking place inside a living system. It includes anabolism and catabolism. What is anabolism? Anabolism is building up reaction. For example, photosynthesis. Plants uses the sunlight and with the help of chlorophyll, they produces its own food, starch. Okay, so it is an anabolic reaction. That means smaller molecules plus energy together produces larger molecule. Photosynthesis is an example for anabolic reaction. Catabolic reaction. What is catabolism? Breaking down reactions are called catabolism. Example, respiration. We are breathing. No. So larger molecules are broken down into smaller molecules and energy is released out. So this is called catabolism. Okay. So this both anabolism and catabolism together constitute metabolism. So metabolism and cellular organization both are defining property of living organism. So if anything do not have cell, if anything do not show metabolic reactions, we cannot tell them as a living organism. Okay, right. Fifth important point is consciousness. What do you mean by consciousness? It is the ability to sense the surrounding or the environment, and not only that, we have to respond to the environment. That is called consciousness. Okay, so the stimuli from the environment could be physical, chemical, or biological. For example, you see, we have sense organs. With the help of our eyes, we could able to see the light, we could able to know the darkness. We are hearing with the help of our ears, right? Sound, we respond to the sound like that. With the help of our skin, we have the sense organ skin. Touch receptors are there. So when we touch hot pan, we know that it is hot and immediately we respond to that. So like this, we respond to the environmental stimuli. Not only human beings, plants do that. You know, touch me not plant. If you touch the touch me not plant, what will happen? Immediately it closes its leaves. Okay, so they respond to the touch. And many plants, they grow towards the light. When you plant the plant in a pot and keep it near the window, so where the stems will be? The stems will be towards the light direction. They respond to the light. Look at the sunflower. They face towards the sun, direction of the sun. So they respond to the light. So like that, plants respond to various factors like light, temperature, water, etc. Okay. So plants, even animals, even bacteria. You give a penicillin antibiotic to a bacteria. What will happen? Immediately they produce an enzyme penicillinase. In response to the antibiotic given, they produce an enzyme penicillinase, okay, because they want to escape from the drug penicillin, and they nullify the effect of the antibiotic. So like this, every individual cell to higher organism, they respond to the environment, that is called consciousness, right? Here, human being is having a little higher capacity, that is called self consciousness, okay. That is the sixth sense. Human being is the only organism who is aware of himself, self consciousness. Human being knows whether it is good or not. If you are doing something, we know what is good, what is not good, like that, but animals don't know that. So this is called self consciousness, okay. So consciousness is a defining property of living organisms that we should remember, okay, right. So let us revise this lesson, what we have learned so far. In this lesson, we have learned what is ecosystem. Ecosystem means both living and non-living organisms in an environment is called ecosystem. What is biodiversity? Biodiversity means the organisms living in a particular environment is called biodiversity. And E.O. Wilson, he is called father of biodiversity. And we have learned what is living, what are the different characteristics of a living organism. Also, we learned what is growth, what is reproduction, what is cellular structure, metabolism, consciousness. These are the major factors to categorize organism as living or non-living. Here, we should understand that growth and reproduction is not a defining property, because some things like mountains, rocks also do grow. Similarly, some human beings, worker, bees, mules, though they are living, they do not reproduce. Okay. So with these exceptions, we are telling that growth and reproduction are not defining property. But cellular structure, metabolism, consciousness are defining property of living things. Right? Hope you understand this lecture. If you do like this lecture, please give a like and share with your friends, and subscribe to our channel NEET Biology Expert. Our next lecture will be on taxonomy and classification. Meet you in the next lecture. Till then, take care.